Hi, I'm Alex. I'm 33. And last Saturday, my nephew smashed my birthday cake on the floor and told me to eat it off the ground. I didn't say a word. That night, my mom sent a text like a lawyer preparing a statement. We've chosen to sever all contact. Stay away forever. My brother Ethan liked the message. Tapped the heart like he was stamping it. I replied with a line I'd written in my notebook months ago. Just in case I ever grew the spine to say it, removing my name from every loan tomorrow. By midnight, I had 53 missed calls. Because in my family, I'm not a person, I'm a policy. Part 1. I'm a long-haul trucker. Been running freight since I was 21. My cab smells like diesel, old coffee, and the pine tree air freshener I hang from the vent because it reminds me of the one peaceful place from childhood. Dad's truck. Windows cracked, engine ticking, just the two of us and the hum of the highway. I keep a thermos of black coffee, a paper atlas in the glove box, and a little notebook where I log fuel, miles, and reminders. One page reads, "Call Tire Place in Omaha." Another says, "Stop being the damn mule." In my family, I'm the mover, the fixer, the one who has it together. That sounds flattering until you realize it means mule. The one they pile the problems on because I don't drop them. My little brother Ethan is the opposite. Flashy, loud, allergic to boring. He makes messes and tells stories about them like they're adventures. People laugh. Mom calls him sensitive. What she means is, rules don't apply. This year, my birthday landed on a Saturday between runs. I had a 34-hour reset. Mom said, "You can rest here, honey," which meant I'd be driving an hour out to the suburbs to eat dry chicken and nod through family stories instead of napping in the sleeper of my rig. But I didn't argue. I brought the cake. A store-bought sheet cake because money's tight and I've got truck repairs pending. Ethan showed up late, wearing sunglasses indoors, carrying nothing, and telling a story about networking at a bar. His son Max, 5, ran around in Dino socks. I bought those socks last Christmas. We did the song. I blew out the candles. I cut the cake. I handed out slices. The last piece had my name on it in blue frosting. I held it out for Max. "Happy birthday, buddy," I said. He looked at Ethan. Ethan smirked. Max took the plate in both hands, turned it like a pancake, and dropped the cake face down. Frosting hit the tile, hit my boot, the dog's ear. Max giggled, ate it off the ground. He said, proud, like he'd nailed the punchline. Ethan laughed. "He's just joking. Relax, it wasn't the cake. It was the permission. It was the way Ethan dared me to react. Like always. Like when he asks for a tiny favor that turns into a 6-month financial bleed. Like when he says, 'Put it on the card. I'll Venmo you tonight.'" I didn't yell. I didn't throw the cake back. I grabbed the paper towels. I knelt. I cleaned the floor. The dog tried to help. I stood, rinsed my hands, said, "It's fine. See," Ethan said to Max. "Uncle Alex doesn't mind." That was always the script. I left that night with frosting on my boot and something new in my chest, resolve. Not anger, not spite, just quiet, mechanical resolve. At 9:47 p.m., the text came from Mom. "We've chosen to sever all contact. Stay away forever." Ethan liked it. Heart emoji. Cute. I stared at the message, then wrote back, removing my name from every loan tomorrow. No threats, no drama. Just a line I'd practiced for years. I put the phone face down and made instant coffee. When the calls started, I didn't answer. By midnight, the group chat was nuclear. My phone lit up like a blown transformer. "What does that mean? You better not talk to us. Max is crying." At 12:54 a.m., I flipped the phone. 53 missed calls. And for the first time in my life, I felt calm. I wasn't the mule anymore. I was the guy who'd finally dropped the load. Banks smelled like paper and bad coffee. I walked into mine at 8:59 a.m. with a manila folder full of documents I'd printed at truck stops over the past few months. I'd been building this plan quietly, the way a mechanic listens to a rattle before a breakdown. I asked for a loan officer. Her name was Carla. She had reading glasses and the tired calm of someone who's seen every kind of financial mistake. "How can I help?" she said. "I need to separate myself," I told her. "Wherever the policy allows." She didn't blink, just nodded. "Let's go one by one." The car loan, Ethan's name was primary, mine was cosigner. I could request removal but only if he qualified on his own or found a substitute. We both knew he wouldn't. The store credit card a joint account. I could freeze new charges, but I was still on the hook for existing debt. I initialed the form. The business line of credit. I was listed as guarantor. I could revoke guarantee in writing, which would freeze the account and trigger review. I signed. Carla stamped each page. Every stamp sounded like a door clicking shut. Anything else? She asked. I shook my head. That's enough for today. As I stepped outside into the fall air, my phone buzzed again. I didn't even check it. I drove to my parents' house. I knew that's where the storm had settled. Ethan's car was in the driveway. So was Dad's truck. Mom's crossover, crooked as always. I didn't knock. Mom opened the door like she'd been watching the driveway through the blinds. Inside, the TV was off for once. That meant it was serious. Ethan was pacing, phone in hand. Dad sat stiff like he was about to give a speech. Mom folded her arms and said, "Explain yourself." I looked at all of them and said, "I followed policy. I'm removing myself from things I never should have been part of." Ethan laughed. Over cake. It wasn't the cake, I said. It was the lifetime of being a cleanup crew. Dad tried reasonable. Son, think practically. Your brother needs help. Your name keeps things moving. My name is not a credit card, I said. Mom stepped in, voice sharp. We raised you better than this. You raised me to work, I said. And I did. You raised me to fix, and I did. And you turned that into a job title. Ethan pointed at me, eyes flaring. You love being the hero. You told everyone you paid for things. No, I said. I love peace. Helping was the only way to get it. He tried one more line, the one that used to hook me. Max will suffer. I looked him straight in the eye. Your son will learn from what you do, not what I pay. The room got quiet. You could hear the fridge humming. Then Mom dropped the ultimatum. If you walk away, don't come back. I took a breath. My voice didn't rise. You told me last night to stay away forever, I said. I believed you. Ethan was still standing, still smirking like he thought this was a bluff. You think anyone's going to clap for you? What? Well, Alex finally said no. I stepped to the door, put on my jacket. My boot was still sticky from the cake. This isn't about applause, I said. It's about closure. That hit him. Just for a second. I saw it. This is me closing the accounts. Not my love. Not my care. But my willingness to be used. Mom's voice cracked. You're heartless. No, I'm tired. And I walked out. Not with rage. Not with drama. Just with steady steps and the quiet of someone who finally heard their own footsteps after years of being drowned out. That week was paperwork. I changed passwords. Pulled my credit report. Circled bruises like a mechanic marking dents. I faxed forms from truck stops. Sent certified mail from terminals. Every task was a notch cut in the chain. Calls kept coming. So did texts. From Mom, "You're making a mistake." From Ethan, "You owe us." From Dad, "Call me when you're done with this tantrum." Then a photo. Max holding a crayon drawing of a truck. Underneath, in shaky 5-year-old handwriting, "Uncle Axe." I stared at it until my eyes burned. Then I whispered to myself, "Not your fault, buddy," and added, "But not my job either." That weekend, I drove to a lake. Not to deliver. Not to unload. Just to sit. I wrote a no list in my notebook. A changed dentist appointment, a new cake. Just for me. The messages started to shift tone around day 10. First came the guilt. Your father hasn't been sleeping. Then the threats. You'll regret this. Then the nostalgia. Remember when we used to watch movies on the old couch? That was from Mom. She always knew how to pitch it just soft enough to almost work. Almost. Ethan went full tilt. Max asked why you hate him. Then, "You're heartless." Over a few pieces of paper. Then, "Hope the truck breaks down. Maybe then you'll remember what family is for." Cute. I didn't reply. I was on the road, I-90, somewhere near Rapid City, radio off, engine humming like a lullaby. I stopped at a truck stop with decent showers and decent eggs, sat at the counter, and watched a waitress wipe down a menu with practiced grace. An old guy in a faded cap slid into the booth across from me without asking, "You drive that Peterbilt out there?" "Yeah," I said. "Thought so. Looks like it's actually taken care of." He didn't say much else. Just drank black coffee and nodded at the world like he'd seen it all and didn't need to say more. That's how I felt. Like I'd finally reached the part of life where silence wasn't punishment, it was peace. Midweek, I got a call from Carla at the bank. "We've made progress," she said. "The joint store account closed to new charges. Payoff plan established. The line of credit guarantee revoked. Now under review. The car loan. Ethan had 30 days to refinance or find a new cosigner. If he didn't, the bank would pursue default. How do you feel?" Carla asked. "Lighter," I said. And I meant it. That night, I made a real dinner in my tiny apartment. Not truck food. Not takeout. Chicken and rice and a vegetable I didn't microwave. I used the chipped plate I got from a flea market and a real fork. Not plastic. It felt ceremonial. Like this was the first night of a life I wasn't borrowing from anyone else. 2 days later, Ethan showed up at my apartment. He buzzed the doorbell like it owed him money. A neighbor let him in. I didn't panic. I just left the chain on the door and opened it a crack. "Open up," he said, smiling like this was a sitcom scene and we were the laugh track. "We can talk like this," I said. He stepped closer, dropped his voice. "They're gonna repo the car. Max needs that car. Then Max needs a dad who pays his bills," I said. His face twitched. "Come on, man. It's just a form. Sign once, co-sign again." "Last time." "No," I said. "Say it nicer." "I won't," I said. "And I won't explain it again." He looked at me like he was trying to find the version of me who used to fold. The one who used to say just this once. That version had left the cab with frosting on his boot. "You'll regret this," he said. I didn't flinch. "Better than living as a wallet," I replied. He left. His footsteps down the stairwell sounded like a kid sneaking out past curfew. 2 days later, Dad sent a text, short and characteristically honest. "Proud of you. Don't tell your mother I said that." I stared at it for a long time, replied with thanks. He sent back a thumbs up emoji. Small, quiet, but for once, not a guilt trip. Not a leash. Just a signal. The group chat slowed. Only Mom kept pushing. Links to articles about forgiveness. Prodigal sons. The one about a brother who forgave a sibling's debts and found joy again. I didn't click. I sent her a single reply, "Love doesn't require debt. I won't carry yours." She didn't answer. That was a new kind of silence. I filled it with other things. A better gym. A weekend trip to a lake. I bought a new notebook. Page 1 says, "My money is mine. My name is mine. My time is mine." Every time the guilt script starts whispering, "Be useful or be nothing," I read that page, because I know what that script got me. Debt, insomnia, and a birthday cake smashed on the tile like I was supposed to lick it off to prove I still love them. Not anymore. This isn't a revenge story. Nobody's in jail. Nobody's dead. Nobody's famous. It's just a story about a truck driver who finally stopped being the family's spare tire and chose to drive his own route. Asterisk, you want to know what happens when you take your name back. Your phone gets real quiet. Not silent, just honest. Only real things ring through. Dispatch, my buddy from Kansas City who sends me memes about bad diner coffee. Carl from the bank, checking in. That one waitress in Tulsa who always remembers I like my eggs over medium. No more 1 o'clock a.m. Hey bro, quick thing, no more, can you just help until Friday? No more. You know how he is. Yeah, I know exactly how he is. And I finally stopped pretending I didn't. I started spending my resets living, not recovering. Went to a hardware store, bought a new deadbolt for my apartment door. One with a real click. Joined a gym not to get ripped, just to stretch without someone asking for gas money. I even bought a cheap little coffee maker for my rig. You'd be surprised how good instant coffee tastes when it's yours, not gulped between bank calls. Then, the letter came, certified envelope, signed on delivery. Return address, my parents. Inside, not an apology, not a conversation, a lawsuit. They were suing me, claim breach of a verbal contract. They said I promised to help Ethan refinance the car loan during the birthday meeting. That's what they were calling it now. The birthday meeting. Like it was some kind of summit. Like I hadn't spent half of it scrubbing frosting off the dog's ear while Ethan left. Their legal argument was that I agreed verbally to take over the loan. Ethan backed it. Mom co-signed the affidavit. I sat in the cab, reading the letter under the dome light. my heart pounding like a jackhammer. Then I laughed. Not bitter. Not sarcastic. Just honest. Of course this was the play. Of course they'd turn my withdrawal into betrayal. You don't just take away someone's favorite tool and expect gratitude. I called a lawyer the next day. A guy named Ron who works with truckers on contract disputes. Salt of the earth. Said he'd seen worse. Said we'd beat it. He asked if I had anything to back up my side. I told him I had a notebook. Logs of every payment. Dates. Sums. I'd even written final straw next to the cake incident. Ron said, "You might be the first client I've ever had who came in pre-organized." I shrugged. Truckers live by the logbook. We countersued for damages, unauthorized use of credit, fraudulent cosigns, emotional distress. I wasn't doing it for the money. I was doing it because sometimes the only way to end a manipulation is to put it in writing. The group chat exploded again. Sophie, our cousin, posted, "Can't believe Alex is suing the family over a birthday party." Ethan replied with a clowny emoji. Mom dropped a Bible verse. I said nothing. Ron told me, "Silence looks stronger in court." So I stayed quiet, drove my loads, ate my eggs, took my walks, let them flail in their drama pool. And then the bank deadlines hit. The car loan defaulted. The store credit card closed and frozen. The line of credit revoked. Collections called Ethan. Not me. Max drew a picture of a truck and mailed it to my apartment. No note. Just a red semi, lopsided wheels, and a smiley face in the driver's window. I put it on the dash. That part still breaks me, but I don't regret it, because Max deserves a version of me that's not always bitter, broke, or bailing someone out. He deserves a version who knows how to say no and mean it. One night, while fueling up outside Topeka, I saw Ethan's name on my screen again. This time, it was a Venmo request. $48.99 for the cake. "Since you didn't eat it." I laughed so hard I startled the pump attendant. I declined it. Then I blocked him. The lawsuit didn't make it to trial. Their side dropped it quietly when Ron sent over our compiled evidence. Texts, logs, TIMESTMPS. My parents didn't apologize. They just went silent. That kind of silence used to hurt. Used to ache in the ribs like a bruise you can't reach. Now, it felt like peace. Like a road without potholes. Like a logbook with nothing overdue. Like a Saturday morning with eggs and toast and nobody demanding anything from you but the sound of your own breath. I haven't seen my family in 126 days. I know the number because I wrote it in my notebook on page 2, right after the line that says, "No" is a full sentence. Page 1 still says, "My money is mine. My name is mine. My time is mine." That's what I bought with every dollar I didn't send. Every call I didn't return. Every guilt trip I didn't take. Freedom. It's not flashy. It's not cinematic. It looks like waking up in a cab that smells like pine and diesel, stretching without stress in my spine. It looks like making coffee without flinching at the sound of a phone buzz. It looks like sitting in a booth in a truck stop diner with real silverware and no emergencies. Ethan hasn't texted in weeks. The last one he sent was a photo of Max holding a paper sign that said, "I miss you." I didn't reply. Not because I didn't feel something. I did. I felt my throat close and my vision blur, but I also felt the cold click of awareness. I whispered out loud, "I miss you too, buddy. But your dad can fix this. Not me." That's the sentence that saved me. I didn't save Ethan. I didn't fix the debt. I didn't show up with a blank check and a quiet apology like I used to. I let the silence do its job. Because sometimes silence is surgery. It cuts the infection clean. Mom still sends Bible quotes. The latest was about the prodigal son. She added, "Come home, Alex. Good men don't keep score." I didn't answer. But I wrote down a thought. Good men don't keep paying interest on someone else's irresponsibility. Dad sends toward check-ins. "You good?" I reply, "Good." He replies, "Okay, it's not Hallmark, but it's clean." And clean is a luxury I've only recently discovered. I still drive. Still log miles. Still check pressure before every climb. I still wave at kids who pump their fists in back seats asking for the horn. I give it to them. Long and happy. Because joy is free when your name isn't trapped in someone else's debt. The last reset. I went to a park. No agenda. Just sat on a bench with a meatball sub and a clear sky. A kid walked past in Dino socks, Max's age. Not Max, but close enough that it twisted something in my chest. I pulled out a small package I'd been carrying in my rig for months, a pair of new dinosaur socks. Bought them the week after the cake. I couldn't give them to Max, not yet. Maybe not ever. Not while Ethan can still turn every gift into a guilt loop. But I'll keep them. For now. Maybe one day, when Max is old enough to ask the truth, not the drama. Not the edited for feelings version, but the plain truth. I'll tell him. Maybe we'll sit at a diner off I-80. I'll have coffee. He'll have a milkshake. He'll ask why I left. And I'll say, you're dead, and I grew up in a house where help meant handling other people's consequences. I kept helping. Until I stopped. Not because I stopped loving you, but because I started loving me too. And I wanted to teach you something better. And if he's ready, I'll slide the socks across the table. You were never the mess. Just the echo. I decided the echo stops with me. Closure doesn't look like a movie. It looks like stamps on papers. It looks like a loan removal form. It looks like the quiet hum of a cab parked at sunset. It looks like a birthday with no cake, but peace instead. My name is Alex. I'm 33. I drive a rig with my name on the manifest and my hands on the wheel. My boot is clean. My sleep is long. And when someone tosses my cake on the floor, I don't eat it. I go buy my own cake. I sit in my cab, and I enjoy black coffee in one hand, sunrise in the mirror, and not one damn apology in sight. Because this isn't about revenge. It's about freedom. And mine tastes like frosting and finally saying no.